What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the bar. It's your favorite guys and Doc Tender, that girl, Henny. And tonight with me, I have a very, very special guest. I have Mel from Watching the World 777. Hey, Mel, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
So, me and Mel, we covered the Diddy trial together and we've exchanged notes, we've exchanged, intellect, thoughts and all of that. And Mel is a very trusted source for me. He's going to give it to you straight, whether you like it or not. He's going to tell you what the facts are. And with this Carmelo Anthony trial, it seems that there's been a lot of misinformation that even now is still circulating. So Mel is going to break all of that down for us. So Mel, tell us how you came to be how did you okay, I want to think of how I wanted to word this. Hold on. Um Tell us how it was covering the Carmelo Anthony trial before we get into things.
It was amazing. That was probably one of the best cases that I've covered thus far, even better than Diddy. I mean, just because so many people were interested in the case.
Did you think that many people were going to be interested in the case?
No, not going in. And I'm so happy I decided to take notes because I was debating some of these cases. I'm like, man, because people don't really show up. They don't, even when you go live, they don't pay attention.
Right.
For this case, I took good notes on day one, and I walked outside of the courtroom and I realized, oh, this is going to be the case of the century.
So what was the difference between inside the courtroom versus outside the courtroom? What was it like, the environments?
It's very strict, orderly. The judge was a no nonsense type of judge. I saw him yell at the jurors, "Sit down!" He yelled at the um, prosecution table. He reprimanded them. Very strong type of environment. But on the inside, I saw on the right side, it was totally Carmelo Anthony's family.
Mhm,
Then I sat on the left side where they allowed the 27 to sit. And
mhm.
we kind of were mingled in with Austin Metcalf's family.
Oh, wow.
You had the jury sitting over to the far left. And then you had the witness box. Then you had the judge at about, I'd say, 2 o'clock. And then you had the two, sides right beyond the gate. So
Okay. So now there's a lot that has gone on, and I know I know we're on the time. So there's been a lot that we have heard going on out there, but I've been tuning into you. I've been watching you. I watch your political stuff. I watch everything that you do. I don't always say anything, but I do watch. And you and a few others have been very accurate with what you have been describing has gone on in court. And I know some people wanted to say your accounts didn't add up, and we're not going to get into all of that, but I did need to bring that up because that is something that was happening, right? Where people were saying your account, it's not lining up. The video, no, that can't be the video. But there was a lot of people that were naysaying what you were saying. So now that the video has come out and what you've been telling everybody basically aligns with the video that we've seen, how does it feel to be vindicated?
feels good. Not only that, I try to tell everybody in order to understand this case, you have to understand how this story developed. The problem is you had individuals that were able to go see a video, and
Mm,
I'm not knocking them for their experience. I respect what they saw, right?
right,
But you have individuals that are saying that Carmelo was sitting in the tent for 8 or 9 minutes,
right.
and then you saw the other individuals walk in. But then I showed everybody today, and it's also in court that Carmelo came 2 minutes after the twins arrived. Okay,
Right.
so it's very important to know that if you go to other channels too that are good in court, they actually tell you that.
Right.
Um, yeah, it's in the it should be in the transcripts when they come out.
which I'm waiting to get, but you've been like the human transcript because you have been reciting your notes so much that I know you know them off of the top of your head. Now, I know that there were some discrepancies that were going on in the courtroom when it came down to the testimony. Can you take us through that? You know, sitting in court and what the issues were with testimony, whose testimony was the most powerful. Walk us through testimony.
Well, when you think about the testimony, a lot of people were offended at my recollection because I emphasized how the stories did not jive. But in fact, the prosecution, before the first witness even came out, the prosecution said, "Listen, their stories that you're going to find their stories don't match." And I'm like, the prosecution said that. Wow.
Right.
So a lot of these individuals, they wanted to come in. You could tell they were prepped for the show, I call it. And for the most part, they wanted to paint a picture that Eddie and Karmelo hardly knew each other. They all tried to push the narrative that Karmelo walks in, gives Eddie some dap, sits down, and he doesn't say another word. Okay, so that was very important. They also wanted to paint this narrative that Austin, that he basically went over and just tapped Karmelo on the shoulder, like, leave, bud.
Right.
Okay, so that was the dominant, narrative that they were pushing. But you know how it is, covering some of these cases. Witnesses kind of give their own rendition of what happened, and they drop those gems, and you start to realize, wait a minute, what happened? But I went through the whole trial, and something was just not adding up for me. And then I went back and I saw the video from Hunter, and that's what really helped me to understand how this all materialized.
Okay. So with the whole Eddie Parra thing, I know in the police report, there was a student who mentioned Eddie and said that Karmelo was friends with Eddie in the police report. And then when he gets on the stand, not only did everyone else say, oh, he didn't really know him, Eddie tried to say, oh, yeah, I don't really know him as well, right?
Right.
And then on cross-examination, the defense kind of blew that out the water.
Absolutely, yeah. It was amazing to watch that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. This was an exciting trial. I can't tell you. I don't think I'll see another trial like that. It was like a box office movie,
So once these videos, okay, let's back up before that. So the videos, people are coming out, people are speaking about the videos, and you were on another panel and you were explaining what everyone saw in court. And I know some people were saying, oh, no, that's not possible. That can't be. But there were other people that described the grainy, blurry video that you described. And the minute I saw that video, I said, this is the video Mel is talking about right here, because I heard you. I've been paying attention. I know what you've been saying. So as soon as I saw that video, I said, this is the video that they showed them in the gallery. But I also started feeling like you guys didn't get to see what the jury saw. So I started thinking to myself, did the jury see a whole nother video, which is something that everyone's been asking. Then this 4K video drops.
Whew. Hallelujah.
And I said, all of us who said that there were two videos that were shown were right on point, even if we weren't in the court. But that's the difference between those of us who want the truth and those of us who just want the emotion of the thing, right? Now, this 4K video, how was that for you? Because you've never seen the video before, that 4K one. So the first time you watched it, take us through that.
So the first time I watched it, it's everything lines up because the way these other individuals were telling their truth, their story, I'm like, there has to be a different video, not just a clearer version. It's the timeline doesn't match. I went through it today. Okay. So when I saw the 4K video, it helped me to understand why they were saying it's so clear. You could see the birds, you could see the raindrops, you could see the girl in the yellow poncho. Right. So then I'm like, oh my goodness, this is what they saw, but it's not what they
It's not
Describe.
what they're saying. Right. That's the same thing I said.
So I'm like, man, this is not going to go well for a lot of people. I want to see how they come back and try to clean it up because it's going to be a tough moment.
Now, I've watched that video a
Mhm.
couple of times and I've zoomed in on it. I can't really see. Now, people are seeing a lot of different things, but I can't really see everything. Like if I was a juror and I was watching this video for evidence, I'm looking for both versions of the story that we got. One of them to either play out in here or something down the middle that matches a little bit of both. I couldn't really see too much. I did see I didn't even see Karmelo sitting down, but how I knew Karmelo was sitting down is because they highlighted him popping out the tent. So you kind of got to watch where he came from to know he was seated the whole time, just like you said, just like you told us that they testified to, he was seated the whole time. I do see a couple of figures standing up and around him, but I don't see this clear jumping. I don't see it. And I know people are probably going to get mad that I said that, but I don't see a jumping happening. I don't see a jump. I do see some movement, but I can't tell you what's happening under that tent. And now this is me not sitting in court, not being talked through because see, you guys, when you were sitting in court, they were talking the jury through what was happening during that video.
Yeah.
And human beings, if we can't put it together for ourselves on what we're seeing and someone tells us what we're seeing, then our mind is going to start to register what someone is telling us. Did that video align with the way that it was being described to the jury when it was played in court?
For the most part, I would say so, yes.
Okay.
Because in court, basically the video was pointed out that Austin, he stands up, he goes to the right, and he does whatever he does to Karmelo, and then you see him swing back to the left. That's what they focused on in court. And then forget about the video. All the witness testimony tells you the story. And you start to realize that it's primarily, if you've been, I know you've been following, so you know you have the body cam
Body
video
cam
from the
footage, yeah.
officer. You have opening arguments, and they all define, even from the horse's mouth, Karmelo, Austin was the person that was after him, and he responded accordingly.
Yeah, because one of the things that he says on the body cam footage is he hit me. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head right this second, but what he did say was I told him not to touch me. Right?
Right.
He said he hit me and I told him not to.
He said he put his hands on
He put
me, and
his
I
hands
told him
on me.
not
There
to
you
touch.
go. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
told him
yeah.
not to. He, that's a
Right.
key word right there, is he put his hands on me. I told him not to touch me. So when you look at that video, I mean, like I said, I see some kind of movement, but I can't definitively say, and that's me being honest. I can't definitively say that I see this jumping that's going on. I know there's some people that are saying they see it clear as day. I don't see that. And to me, that video, while it's clearer than the version that was shown to the gallery in court, it's not that clear. It's not clear like you and me right here, right now. It's not that
Right.
clear to me.
Right. There is a clearer video. I think maybe I sent it to you or no.
No, not that I'm
I
aware
think
of.
it's
Like I
Fox 4. It's pretty clear. It's better than anything that I've shown last night or today.
So is there another version that we're not aware of this
It's
video?
even it seems like Fox News has a clearer version. Yeah, most people don't know that. So when you look at the clearer version, they probably enhanced it, but you actually see the singularity of the individual sitting under that tent. It's not enhanced, it's not blown, it's in 4K. For whatever reason, it's clear. It's much clearer than anything else floating online. I'll send it to you. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Well, I would just say for me, you know, with the testimony, so there was people perjured themselves on the stand,
Absolutely.
and there's been a lot that has been misconstrued in this case. If there were two things that you want people to understand and get right as far as facts of this case, what would those two things be?
Two things. Number one, there's no doubt about it that Carmelo had a knife. You could spin it as a multi-purpose tool all day, but it's kind of like when you and I sat down at Diddy's trial and everybody else was talking all this craziness, and then we connected and realized, okay, we're on the same page, and that was
Right.
tough, right?
It was very tough.
Yes. So people are trying to help the situation, but I have to be honest when I come back. I can't come back and tell my audience this is just a multi-purpose tool. Then yesterday you see the picture, you said, Mel, that was a knife. What were you doing? You see what I'm saying? So that's the key part. Just to know, you have to tell your kids you can't take that to school. You can't take it to a school event. You can't take it to, and Calvin's going to be here. He's going to break it down. He's going to explain it. You can't bring that to the airport, right? He's the
Right.
attorney. Okay. The other point to this is Austin attacked Carmelo. There's no doubt
They're still
about it.
getting around that. Right.
He attacked him, and it was self defense at a high level. Hudson came in. Hudson say he hit him with a lineman's drill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's where you get up under the guy. Okay, the witness before him, named Jason. Jason said he grabbed him by his sweatshirt. He started to pull him up. And then Toby Shook was like, hey, was it more like a pull to you? Or, he was like, he's trying to move him out of the seat. So he's trying to pick him up. That's what Maya's interpretation was. Okay. So it's very important to understand because people are just saying, oh, it was cold blooded or whatever. But when you actually think about and how it materialized, this boy was actually fighting for his life. Now, many people are going to say, well, Austin couldn't have killed him with his hands. And I understand that. But
Right.
I think where it makes a difference if Carmelo takes the stand and say, listen, I felt like this boy was gonna, I have epilepsy, I have seizures every so often, I can't even control myself. Doctors say I can't take any major hit, whatever it is. And he was about to pick me up off the ground, I was scared. Now that it turns into something a little bit different to the jurors. Instead of them just seeing him at his table writing notes, shaking, and just seems like I wouldn't say he's cold, but he was emotionless. And I think people try to define that and they want to see some movement out of him. They want to, in Diddy's case, I don't want to say, I don't want to give any inside information, but there was a reason why Diddy would start to, when Cassie said, oh, he did this, or Banner said, Diddy had her hanging off of the balcony.
Mm-hmm.
Diddy was like that.
He was reactive.
When you
Yeah.
when you watch the jurors, right?
Yeah. You look at him, then you look at the jury. If you're in the courtroom, you looked at him and you looked at the jury. If you were in that overflow room, you saw his reaction. And me personally, I was waiting for the sticky note
Yeah.
because Diddy ran that trial via sticky note. Every time they were saying something, he'd send that sticky note down, they'd read it, and then they start asking questions. So they were waiting for something.
Yeah. And so when you watch the documentary for Diddy, what does the black girl say? She says, I was looking at Diddy and they said stuff and Diddy was like, no way. See what I
Right.
mean? Yeah. So it's very important. But with Carmelo, there was pretty much not a lot of that. He only responded when he heard he was guilty and going to be going away for a mighty long time. That's a little too late to respond.
Yeah. And that's another thing. I think the epilepsy. Did that come out in trial? Did the defense attorneys bring that up at any point in time?
Yes, that's where I heard of that. They mentioned it, I believe, in the opening arguments, epilepsy, seizure, but they didn't bring in any specialists or experts to explain it and to really draw it out.
I really wonder why no one, in all of the stuff that everybody is taking into account when it comes down to this case, I don't hear very many. Some people are, but the fact that he had epilepsy is not really even being paid attention to.
No, it's not.
But a lot of people are asking questions as well, which, like I've said to them, we'll never know the answer to some of these questions because he never took the stand and his defense attorneys never addressed it. Some people are saying, how was he the captain of his football team if he had epilepsy? Or, like someone was asking a while ago, he couldn't take a hit.
Right.
So, I
So
mean,
they
go
never
ahead, Mo.
answer those questions. They never answer those questions.
So those are questions that we'll never know, just like we'll never know why he was carrying that knife around. We'll never know if there was a history between the Metcalf twins and Carmelo. And I say that only because they were athletes in rival schools. So to think that they play football, they run track, they didn't at least run into each other or know each other in passing. You can't say that. So we'll never know the extent of certain things because he never took the stand, and the defense attorneys they cut their case off basically in the middle of it, right?
Absolutely. They abruptly ended the case, and we'll never understand why. It left anyone associated with the case wanting more because we thought there was a video coming or something. The defense did a good job showing that Eddie pretended to be recording, but he said, Eddie, did you know two people saw you were actually recording? And he said no. So it left me thinking they have that video and they're going to bring it out. None of that happened.
Right. Wow. This has definitely been a sticky one for everyone. Now, were you in there when the sentencing came down?
No, I just had a representative there.
Did your representative let you know whether or not the Anthony family was there when they sentenced him? Because we're hearing that no one was there when he got sentenced. Do you know?
They were there when the verdict came through, from what I understand. And then the sentencing happened along with the statements, right?
Hmm.
And then, the mother had to be there because she spoke. Okay. So when the sentencing, there was a confusion. The security had taken them out, and they have this policy that when you go out, you can't come back in while the judge is presiding. So there was a mix-up, and for the most part, from what I can understand, they didn't may not have wanted to be there when, for instance, Hunter was telling Carmelo, look at me in my eyes,"
Right,
and the father doing that as well. So it's very emotional. I mean, you hear your child gets 35 years. That's not for the faint of heart.
right, right. So thank you for clearing that up because it's been said they left him there. They just abandoned him. That's the story that's being told, that they just abandoned him for sentencing. To see, I didn't even know that the sentencing and the statements were at the same time. So the statement was given, she was taken out, but she wasn't allowed back in.
Right. It
Even
was
if
the,
she wanted to, if she didn't want to, she couldn't get back in.
because Carmelo started crying so loud and he was out of control. His attorney asked, could he leave the courtroom? The judge says no. He's been sentenced. He's now the property of the state.
Oh wow.
So he had to sit for it. So Mike Howard, the attorney, basically said, listen, can we just move to get the sentencing over? So things happened rapidly. I think by the next morning, he was already bald head in a prison cell.
Yeah. And that was very odd. I don't know if that's how Texas moves or not, but a lot of us were like, "Whoa." Because I've never seen anyone move from county custody to state custody that quickly.
Yeah. Calvin, when Calvin comes up, you could ask him. I think he could answer that better.
Okay. Yeah, because I definitely I don't know if that's a Texas thing because even with I don't know if you're familiar with Kason Allison. He was a student at Belton High School, if I'm not mistaken. He kind of a similar situation. He stabbed someone. He had a prior situation with them. He stabbed him 4 times. The kid
Yeah.
died. Yeah. So when he was sentenced, they immediately took him into custody and he was gone. So I don't know if that's something that they do in Texas because they moved very quickly and they had that Saturday court session, which really like I got up that Saturday morning and I'm doing my cleaning. I go onto YouTube and I'm like, court? They're at court on a Saturday?
Yeah, I was there.
I guess this judge wasn't playing about moving this case along.
Yeah, it was rough, rough case.
It has been, and I think it's been even rougher after the fact.
Yeah, especially with the race element, it's out of control sometimes.
So walk us through the days in court.
Well, for the most part, it started off, they get all of the business out of the way. The judge asks both sides, is there any unfinished business? And then immediately the prosecution called their first witness, who was the video expert, and he broke down, what does it mean to have a video, the construct of videos. We saw it with Sean Diddy Combs' case.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's a bunch of pictures moving fast. They go through all the ins and outs. And then we get to see the video that has become like the talk of the century.
Right.
The video that if they had not released that video, people would have really been able to walk around for years coming up with all sorts of stories or what have you. I think the video leveled the playing field, right? Because you get a
Right.
chance to see what we were talking about in court and how grainy it was. And when we say grainy, we're saying that the video is recorded, the cameras are 4K, and it's very clear. You see that, right? But when you zoom in, it becomes pixelated. And that's what they were explaining in court. But what threw us off in court is that we saw the 4K video on regular televisions. In court, they have the regular monitors. So we took a break. We came back. Now they had a special television, a 4K television, but
Mm-hmm.
they only allowed the jurors and the attorneys to see it. So now we're like, well, what is it they don't want us to see? But ultimately, they only had one of these televisions, and that they chose to just show it to the jurors instead of the gallery, because that's who would make the ultimate decision. But it took a while to figure out that that was the angle. At least that's the perception now.
If you were on the jury and you saw either one of these videos, would this be first degree murder to you?
No, this case was not a first degree murder case.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think that's the part. And I think while people are caught up in emotions and rumors and speculation, I think people are skipping over the part. For me, it's the injustice of it all,
Right.
right? Um we could look at this case and we could point fingers at every little thing. We could pick it apart and we could, you know, find all the flaws. But with this case being the way that it is, and now that these videos have come out, and I've watched the videos a couple of times, I'm still watching the videos. Like the first time I heard the body cam footage, I was like, oh, he didn't say this and he didn't say that, and I didn't hear this. But I had to actually put on headphones so I could hear some of the stuff that he was saying. And
Right.
I feel sorry for him and his family.
Right. Can I just break down 2 points for you?
Sure, Mel, you got the floor.
So here's the thing about the case that you have to factor in. Number one, this case is in an area where people have money.
Right.
And if you let a black guy go in and do something like this and he walks totally free, that comes with a set of ramifications, okay? And number two, you also have kids looking in, adults, and it's a push, a tackle. We're going back and forth, right? But they don't want to send a message that someone push you, slam you, and you feel like you can just come to a school environment and bring a knife and stab. That'll set a new precedence that nobody wants to face. You follow?
Mm-hmm.
So these are some of the factors that you knew were playing in the background,
Right.
and rightly so to a certain extent. You know.
And I'm glad that you said that, because a lot of people, and this is a little off the case kind of, a lot of people have been, dragging the family, saying, oh, the family did this, the family did that, they moved into this gated community. But this is an affluent area that they were already, living in, correct?
Yes.
And they had to move, from what I've understood. This didn't come out in trial, so we don't know, but they've had to move, I heard, in upwards of 8 times, multiple times, because they kept being doxxed. People kept showing up to their home. So when you start bringing that into play, and this is the neighborhood, this is the environment that they're in, and then let's not factor out where it is. Okay, we can't, this is not New York, it's not New Jersey, this is Texas, the last state to free slaves. 2
Right.
years after it was abolished, slavery was abolished.
Right.
We can't not factor that in. But in my opinion, I have my opinion. And I do feel like it did play a huge factor in a lot of things, as it often does. Um, but there's bigger plays at foot here for me. What say
Right.
you on that?
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. I mean, I kind of expected it to be that way. I think the issue has become, though, um, we have this whole movement in the United States. A lot of it has to do, as you know, I cover politics. A lot has to do with the environment we're in.
Mm-hmm.
But now, if you do something crazy to a person of another race, you might have people that'll support your GoFundMe if you get locked up. That's a different kind of living.
Well, that you bring that up, that's like Jake Lang. Jake
Yeah.
Lane was out there trying to incite some racial tensions, and the things he was saying were horrible. And he's locked up in Collin County right now as we speak. And he now has a give, send, go, just like Karmelo Anthony had, trying to
Right.
get out. And you brought up politics. How much of because you're more versed in politics than I am. I'm like a fair weather politician. I tap in and I tap out, but you keep on top of everything. How much of a part does politics play in this, in your opinion?
I would say a tremendous part, probably 70, 80%, if not more. Right. Because everybody's concerned about their own neck. They're not concerned. Sometimes people are not concerned about what's righteous. Right.
Right.
You know, in fact, on the flip side, a lot of black people, it's like Jay-Z's song about Lucifer. He
Mm-hmm.
says, Lord, forgive him. He has those dark forces in him, but
Mm-hmm.
he has a righteous cause for sinning. You see that? A righteous
A
cause for
righteous
people
cause.
for sinning. So people say he had a righteous cause to take his life because of, number one, they're looking at the background of what black people have went through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you agree with it or not, it all plays into it. And then they say he's much bigger, and there's a race element, and people want to put a race element on it just so that they could push their agenda too. So there's a lot happening.
Right. Now, when you brought up size, there was a 100-pound difference between Austin and Carmelo, and a 7-inch difference in height between the two of them as well. With this incident, what I can say, on that video, it happened so quickly. And you've said this. And after watching this video, not that I didn't agree with you prior to or believe what you said, after watching this video, I'm saying to myself, that was really quick. Like, that wasn't enough time to pull your hand out and poke, because it just was so spontaneously over. And I saw the wound. And the knife went through bone. And I do believe he fell on that knife. 100 pound, 200 pound, 200 some odd pounds coming downward to scoop you up. Yeah. Because I can't see that much pressure being applied to do all of that. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know. I don't see that happening like that. I think his body weight played a part in this.
Right. The force of it
Yeah.
all. I don't know if I would say he fell on it, but I'd say he ran into it for sure.
Yeah, especially with the way, you described this lineman's drill.
Right.
And with Eddie Parra saying he came with so much force he knocked me over. That's a lot of force. And you know what that also tells me? That's a lot of rage coming at that. So I don't know. There was this part in the testimony that people are saying, or that is circulating, that Austin said, "I'm not going to fight you at a track meet, man." Was that said in trial, or is that something that was additionally added?
That was said in trial.
Okay.
He said, "I'm not going to fight you, man, at a track meet." But he also said, I'm going to kick your ass too. So there's a lot going back and forth.
And that's the thing, like, even with the testimony from the witnesses, it's a lot of conflicting stories that were said, because if you're not going to fight me at the track meet, but then you're going to tell me that you're going to fight me, or you're going to move my bitch ass and move my bitch ass, and it was a lot of conversation that was going on. And I can
Absolutely.
see that conversation, that exchange happening in that time before the incident happened. Like, it's enough time for that exchange to go back and forth and to get heated as well. Up, we have Calvin joining us. Hey, attorney Calvin Johnson.
How you doing? Sorry, y'all. You caught me mid too. How y'all
So,
doing today?
we're doing well, thank you. So you came at a good point in time, because I had a good question for you. So with
Sure.
Karmelo, right? He was moved very quickly. Is that something Texas does normally?
No, him getting moved that fast was like crazy to me because typically it takes about a week
Mhm.
at the fastest. Usually it's a 2 to 4 week process of them moving him. Usually 2 to 3 weeks is the average.
Yeah, because that took us back. A lot of us that were watching, like, well, wait a minute. He was taken into custody yesterday, and then he was moved. Like, what? How does? I know in New York it takes longer than that.
Well, what happens is if you're a county guy, right?
Mhm.
The minute he is sentenced, you're losing money if you're Collin County, if you're keeping him, because really he becomes TDC's responsibility, which is the Texas Department of Corrections responsibility.
Mhm.
It's actually even advantageous if you get him moved quicker. But in this particular situation, I've never seen somebody move within 24 hours.
So they had to
That was just
already
crazy.
they
Mhm.
had to already have in place, like, they already knew where they were going to send him.
They had to have a coordination ready for him to send him somewhere
And then
because that's crazy to me.
And then there's something that I noticed that I didn't come and broadcast. So I'm sharing this because it was something that I noticed. When they were saying that he was at the Wallace Pack unit, he was still showing in Collin County.
Hmm.
So is that because the system is slow? Because I was saying to myself, there's no way they released that information to the press and he hadn't been moved yet, because you can't tell where someone is going before they go. So is the system just slow to catch up?
It is in a sense because they put you in a pre-unit and then they send you to your actual unit that you go to.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna send you. They almost put you in a transitional unit, and then they send you to the unit that you're gonna go to.
Another question I have for you. Now I know Miranda rights, yesterday people were getting on me because I was saying one thing that I noticed was he was never Mirandized. But then I had to look it up, and it does say that you have to, in order for you to be Mirandized, that you have to be detained and you can't leave, and you have to be interrogated.
Yes.
With him making those spontaneous utterances, would that have canceled out his Miranda too?
It would have. If you make a spontaneous utterance, you can actually get around Miranda using that, which means if somebody blurts out to you, I did it, I'm not alleged, I killed him, they can get around Miranda using that.
Had he not said that, would they have had to Miranda him?
They would have. But when he said that stuff on his own, it kind of messed him over in a sense. Because he basically gave the information up without even them asking him. So the most important information, whether you did it or not, you gave up. And they didn't even have to ask you. And basically, it is an excited utterance. It's the definition of excited utterance.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because I know you're down there. You're in Texas.
Yeah,
so
I'm in Texas. I was in that court Friday. So I was actually in that court Friday. So that was like, I spent my whole Friday in Collin County.
How ironic.
It is.
So I'm trying to tap dance around things because I don't want to stir any pots for you down there.
I'm okay. I'm good. Don't worry about it.
If you were the attorney on this case, how would you have handled this?
This is the problem, number one. And I'm not taking up for Mike Howard, anybody else that handled it. They walked into a hornet's nest because Dominique Alexander, I think, had a press conference in the beginning. Mm-hmm. That's a no-no. That's the worst thing you can do. That's the worst thing you can do. So I'm in Collin County, Texas, highly Republican, very powerfully Republican. And I'm a black kid from Louisiana. And I get into it with a kid there, and he pushes me, tackles me, whatnot, and I stab him in the heart, and he dies. Mm-hmm. And I let somebody convince me that the first thing we should do is go have a press conference. Hello, I'm Karmelo. Here's my face. Here's my mom's face.
Right.
Here's my dad's face. Look at me. Look what I can do. No, you do not do that. When he had that press conference, what that basically did is it put a spotlight on him. Not only did you put a spotlight on yourself with the crime in Collin County, you put a spotlight on your family, your dad, your mom, yourself, the crime. You also unintentionally put a spotlight on the family of the victim, the family's dad. You put a big spotlight. You basically probably did the worst thing you've ever did in your life, and somebody talked to you at having a press conference about it. No, it's not what you do. And that press conference did not benefit Karmelo, benefited the press in doing the press conference. Tell me how doing the press conference benefited Karmelo. You don't do that.
Yeah.
You just don't do it. And the reason why I say that too is because now, because you spotlighted that particular situation, you have kind of pissed away your potential for a plea bargain. They're probably not going to work with you. Now, because of that, everybody in Collin County is watching that press conference. So guess what? If I'm a DA that works for the Collin County District Attorney's Office, all of my citizens in that county are going to go, oh my God, that kid killed the other kid and he had a press conference. What is my elected district attorney going to do about that?
Right.
That's why you have a damn press conference.
And then you re-victimized the family by shunning the father the way that he was shunned. You re-victimized the family.
When that happened, I was over here. I was feeling bad for Karmelo, and people can say what they want to say. I was feeling bad for that young man because he don't know. I mean, he's 17 years old. He has not been in this kind of trouble in his entire life. He doesn't know who to trust.
Right.
And what does Mr. Alexander know about the Collin County? He don't know anything about Collin County like that. He's been doing this stuff up in Dallas. So I wouldn't have, no,
How
no,
how damaging was he to this case?
I think hugely damaging. And I'm, I see him all the time. So I'm not throwing any shade at him.
Right,
I'm just saying, that even if he's watching this, hey man, listen, press conferences when people do this is not the thing you do. It's just not the thing you do. And if I had been representing him, he damn sure would have had no press conference. That wouldn't have happened because it's about the client. It's not about you. When
right.
something like this happens, you do everything you can. You got to protect the client. It's never about you.
A little off topic to a whole separate situation where a press conference was held. I would love to get your opinion on this. Cohen Wiley, did you see the mom's public statement that she made?
No, I did not. What happened? Tell me.
So, do you know about the case? Well, it's not a case, but do you know the story?
Refresh me because there's been a couple of things that happened that I think I know what you're
Okay.
talking about.
So, Mississippi,
The kid
Walmart,
guy got shot, the 1 year
a
old?
1-year-old was shot
Yes.
and died.
Yes.
The mother came out and gave a statement. She was sitting with Marcus King or Keys, I can't remember his last name,
Mhm.
and they were sitting in the car, and she gives a public statement, an account of what happened. And meanwhile, the officer is on administrative leave. There's been no charges pressed against anybody. Nothing has happened as of yet, but she gave a public statement.
I just I
Your
think
size says it all.
I think you got to manage that situation. You got to get with people and you got to set them down and say, wait a minute, don't say anything yet. You got to be very careful. You got to move you got to move in silence. You can't let the other side know what you're thinking. You got to be very, very careful. Like the minute, like say in Carmelo's case, the minute that would have happened, we would have came back with a very, very somber um, disposition. This is very tragic. We hate that this happened for both families. It's very, and you do it. You do that. You don't go out there and then turn it into a race thing and then turn it into all this other stuff. I don't think Carmelo is ready to carry the water bucket for all of that. And he
No,
shouldn't have to. He's 17 years old. Why are we making him carry the bucket for everybody else's projecting of their discrimination issues and that they've had in their lives on him? And that's what I felt happened here. But that's a whole nother conversation. But you got to be careful when you do that. You got to watch what you say. You got to
Mhm.
move and you got to be very deliberate.
Case and Allison, Carmelo Anthony. From a legal standpoint, can you give us the similarities and the differences and why the different outcomes?
The Case and Allison case, that's the young man that was in Waco, right?
No, he was in well, I don't know if he was in Waco. I know he went to Belton High
Belkin,
School.
yeah, but let me tell you, that's the Waco area. It's a little,
Okay.
that's a little past Waco. Well, it's kind of like Bell County. Bell
Mhm,
County is a little bit past Waco. I go down there sometimes.
mhm.
I've actually been to Bell County Court quite a bit.
Okay.
So it's a little bit past Waco. I think number one, the way they handled it. I think number two, I think these kids had some history with each other.
Mhm,
They had kind of agreed to fight, but not that day and not in those circumstances. I think that they got their attorney very early. I think they managed the initial situation a lot better.
mhm,
I think they when everything happened, I think the way that they handled it was just a lot better. And you could tell that there was a lot of back and forth between both sides before the incident happened. So it wasn't like a one time I get into it with you, you get into it with me, you rush me, I stab you. It was a lot of back and forth between the two people. And in addition to that, um, you're in a county where it's a good old boy system down there. They know the lay of the land, right?
right.
And in that particular situation, because I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, the defendant in that situation was from that town, was from that area. He had roots there.
Mhm.
The defendant in this situation isn't from the McKinney area. He's from Louisiana. He's not. He didn't grew there. He flew there. And see, I try to explain that to people, And that's why when I said that the young man had the press conference, you don't do that.
Right.
Because guess what? When you have that press conference, they know you're not from there. You did that to somebody that's been living there. You probably got a couple of generations of family there, right?
Right.
And then you only been there 4 or 5 years maximum. If you're lucky, you've been there 3 or 4 or 5 years. In addition to that, you don't have the same roots that he has. So they said this Eddie guy who kind of really, and Mel was explaining to me how Eddie kind of was a turncoat on him, was
Right.
supposed to be his friend. I always try to tell people it's a difference, right? I grew up in Southern Dallas, and it's a difference between the relationships I have with some people and the relationships some of the other people have with people, because I go back, I'm a day one, which means I got some people I know elementary school,
Right.
middle school, high school. I have some friends. I got about 2 or 3 friends. I would say I got a friend that I've been friends since I was 2 years old. I got another friend, my best friend. My best friend been friends since we were 8. I mean, I got them kind of friends.
Them kind of roots and ties. Right.
Exactly. When you look at Karmelo Anthony, he gets up here to Texas. The friendships he has in Texas probably started at what, 13, 14. Well, these other boys like Eddie, shoot, Eddie might have went to elementary school and middle school and part of high school before he met Carmelo.
Right.
So what's going to happen? He got all these people that he hang around. His friend circle is his friend circle. He may be cool with Carmelo, but he got a whole list of 30 or 40 friends over here. And he got Carmelo over here. He from Louisiana. He ain't from Texas. What do you think he's going to do?
He's gonna
stand tall for his buddies.
Yeah.
Even though that person's another color.
Right. I have to take off, guys, to start a show. Calvin, enjoy Calvin. He's the best to do it.
Yeah, we can continue to go. We're good.
Okay.
Calvin,
I'll
I'll catch you over
definitely be
later.
watching the replay. Thank you, Mel, so much for chiming in. I
All right.
appreciate you.
So long. Take care.
Okay.
You can just continue to talk. Yeah, but definitely.
Okay. So, a lot of people had a lot of discrepancies with this case. They had issues, and there's a lot of false information. Mel helped to clear up some of that. And, again, I keep saying from a legal standpoint, because I don't want the people to start bringing other elements into it. We don't have to talk about the elephant in the room. We know the elephant in the room. Let's address everything around the elephant before we start jumping or we jump there. We've had enough of that. Mm-hmm. So from a legal standpoint, what is Karmelo's chances on getting in this appeal?
They're not the best, but there are a couple of things that can help him. The jury selection, when they got rid of the 3 African American educators, that's an area where he may get some resolve. They're going to challenge some of the objections that were not ruled in his favor. That can get him some resolve. Also, I would say the ineffective assistance of counsel, which means that your counsel did not work hard enough for you or did not explain things enough for you to be able to properly represent you. That sometimes you can get some resolve from. But it's going to be tough because his witnesses, Karmelo's witnesses, he didn't have a lot of witnesses. Their witnesses kind of got up there and did the same thing. And it's part of the reason why I probably would have wanted him to testify, because in Texas, it's self-defense, which means if somebody does something non-lethal toward me, my response has to be non-lethal. I can respond, but it has to be non-lethal. So somebody pushes me, if I punch him, it's non-lethal, I'm good. Somebody pushes me, I kick him, it's non-lethal, I'm good. Somebody pushes me or hits me, I stab him, lethal response. You cannot do that because that's lethal response. It can be deadly or it can cause a serious injury. If I use that lethal response, then I have to explain why I had to use that lethal response. And if I'm not going to testify, then I'm relying on something else to explain that to a jury. And I just don't see how you can sit in Collin County, think you're going to sit there quietly for a whole trial, and that they're going to listen to all those witnesses come in. These folks will come here crying, boo-hooing, hollering, and that you think you're going to walk out of there. It's just not realistic.
Which
so
is what
that's
the
an
mother
issue.
was doing. She was crying, which I'm not faulting the mom, because as a mom, if I'm sitting in a trial and my child was murdered, my son was killed, however you want to word it, my son is no longer here.
Exactly.
And I'm looking at autopsy photos. I'm hearing
Yeah,
testimony.
I'm gonna cry.
I'm crying. So I can't hold her for that. But I do
Exactly.
also know that in a court of law, that's not allowed. And I
No,
know that listening to people who covered the case, they said it did affect the jury, especially when you have a jury that has a lot of
no.
women
Listen,
on there.
listen. Let me tell you, yeah, crying is allowed. I mean, they'll tell you to try to stop crying, but they're gonna
Mhm.
let you cry. They're gonna let you cry. I mean, they're gonna give you some tissue and tell you to hold it together. But with that being said, there's gonna be some cry. I mean, that's human emotion. I mean, what are you gonna do as a judge? You're gonna sit up there and tell her not to cry? No, that's not gonna happen. And see, I think that everybody has to realize that even um, on our side, and when I say our side, we have to realize that a lot has been done to us as a people, right?
Mhm.
Um, but when you're in Collin County or anywhere, we ain't gonna say Collin County, just anywhere. Just human nature is when you lose your child, you got to be like, wait a minute, somebody lost their child. So you got to show some empathy, just as a human being. Now, for court, at least court's sake, because sometimes we don't get that same level of empathy, and I think a lot of people are sick of that. And that's why a lot of us are saying, the damn them. I'm not showing anything. They'll show anything for us, but you got to understand where you at. And that's the issue that I think that everybody has to understand. I always tell people, like I live in Dallas County. Okay, we got Dallas County, got Collin County, got Tarrant County. Dallas County has a lot of its blacks and a lot of Hispanics, and then white, and so it's about equal of each. St. Mary's a lot of Hispanics. There's a decent amount of white folks and heavy African American population. But when you start to
Mhm.
move into Tarrant County, Collin County, Hunt County, Rockwall County, you're gonna get a lot of white folks. You're gonna get a
Right.
lot of them Trumpers, MAGA. You're gonna get a lot of that stuff. And I always tell people it's the price you pay when you move out of Dallas County. That's why I'm not moving out of Dallas County. Listen, where I live right now, this place has become too small. That's why we got everything stacked up from here quite crazy. So we're getting ready to move, right?
Mhm.
I'm moving about a mile and a half away from here, which means I'm not going out this county. I'm not. It's
Right.
not going to happen. Cal gonna stay where If Cal gonna stay where he belong. I belong here because I'm not doing all that. Because you know why? Because I understand a couple of things. If I do have an issue, the jury is going to be made up of what they would consider is my peers. My peers in Dallas, when I get a jury in Dallas, I'm probably going to end up anywhere between 2 to 4, 2 to 5 black people on my jury. I'm probably going to end up with a couple other races, maybe 2 or 3 Hispanics, maybe 2 or 3 white folks. I'm going to end up with a mixed jury. Um, every time I'm going to end up with a mixed jury. But you go to Collin County, you're going to end up with typically uh, one African American jury, 2 if you're having a good day. Two. I mean, I'm trying to tell you, it's a Hail Mary if you get 2.
Wow.
Because the population is only about 11% African American, and only 8% of those African Americans vote. So you're lucky if you get 1. 2, you're
Yeah.
pushing it, and then you're going to end up with about 3 or 4 foreigners, either Muslim or Indian descent. You're going to end up with an Asian or 2, and then you're going to end up with maybe anywhere between 5 to 8, 5 to 7 white folks. That's what you're
See,
gonna
and
get.
this is why I've been telling people, people say my vote doesn't count. I'm not voting. I'm not getting. No, you have to, because if you don't vote, you can't be on a jury. And if you're
Bingo.
not on a jury, then you can't be counted. And then we cannot cry when we continually have these juries that are not of someone of color's peers, when we're not even showing up to be able to be on the jury. We don't answer the jury duty slips. You throw it to the side and ignore it.
That's why I
You
get pissed
can't
off.
cry when you're not active.
That's why I get pissed off because people they complain about this jury thing and then they don't show up. And then they look at me and then they start complaining, oh, y'all are doing this and y'all are, no, I don't want to hear that. Like, don't come at the defense attorneys when we can't get stuff done, when y'all don't show up. Or when you show up and then you make up fake reasons why you can't serve on a jury and, oh, I got to work, man. And then, or you see somebody that the judge lets go because they got a doctor's appointment. Oh, I forgot I have an appointment, judge. I can't reset it. Then next thing you know, you're off the jury too. I'm sick
Right.
of that. And one thing I'll tell everybody is this: when you're picking a jury, especially in a situation in Collin County,
Mhm.
you were never going to get more than 2 African Americans. It just wasn't going to happen.
The fact
It
that
just
they
wasn't
had
going to happen.
3, I was surprised. And I'm
Yeah,
not even
exactly.
from
In a
there, but
row,
I was like,
exactly.
whoa, they had 3 and
At
they
the
were
end, they had 3
educated?
left. They had 3 left. No, hell no. Like you, and you weren't gonna be able to keep all 3. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're lucky if you keep 1 or 2. And see, that's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, you're not gonna get that. And then also, and this is something I was thinking about. Like, if they, let's say two of those people end up on the jury, what kind of effect do you think that they have on the jury? Are they gonna find Carmelo innocent? Are they gonna find him guilty of murder still? Are they
Right.
gonna find him guilty of manslaughter? Are they gonna give him less time?
Right.
And this is the thing that I think people have to really pay attention to. What kind of effect that they typically would have? I feel like definitely they would give him less time. It wouldn't be no 35
Mhm.
years. That's one thing I do know. I also think if they do convict him of something, that it won't be a murder. I think it'd be manslaughter. That's what I
Yes.
was thinking. So, and then that, to me, that's probably the angle that, as a defense attorney, based on what we saw in proportionality and based on the situation, that's what I saw more of, not a murder.
I know you've already answered this question again, but you have a question here about what about the judge, the DA, and the father knowing each other?
Okay, I'm gonna help you out with this. When I say I'm extremely frustrated about those fake pictures that were going out, when I say I'm frustrated about those fake pictures, the only person in that picture, there's a picture of five folks in a picture. The
Mm,
only person in the picture was the Metcalf dad. John
yeah.
Roach wasn't. John Roach was never in that picture. Greg Willis was never in that picture. And then they try to show a picture of one of Carmelo's attorneys with Bill Werski. I know Bill Werski. I've tried cases against him. That wasn't a picture of 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 Carmelo's attorney and Bill Werski. It wasn't, and it was. Matter of fact, it was a picture of Carmelo's attorney and another defense attorney who I know, and
And
who had actually saw at court that day. And I was
and
like, "The hell
see,
is this?"
I
It makes
got
me
caught
angry.
up. I got caught up in that because I didn't know.
You didn't
I
know. It
didn't
made me
know. So I'm
angry.
like, oh, look at this, what's going on?
Oh, that made me
And
angry.
then
It was
I
a waste of
find
time.
out, wait a minute, that's not the judge, that's not the DA. And then now it's like fighting an uphill battle to tell people
Yeah.
that's not an actual picture. Now, what I've been telling people is to say they don't know each other. We can't say they don't know each other.
Mhm.
But what we can say is that's not them in the picture.
That's not them in the picture, and I'm telling you right now, that is not them in the picture, and that really, really, really angers me that that picture got put out there, because when I saw it, I got angry because there was misinformation. When I say misinformation, I don't like people's lives played with. And to me, we spend a lot of time talking about that kind of stuff where we really need to focus on actual stuff that could actually help him. That
Right.
stuff wasn't going to go anywhere. And I was just like, oh, that's a waste.
Now, getting back to the case, the perjury part, where with
Hmm.
Eddie,
Hmm.
Eddie seems to be the nucleus of all of this. And with him perjuring himself on that stand, would that help Carmelo in any way?
That definitely could help him, because that's something that I would point to a lot with the way that he got he got popped up there. When I say got popped up there, it was like, I was talking to Mel. Mel was like, yeah, he got put on the Summer Jam screen multiple times. You know what I mean? Multiple times. I was like, whoa. Mel said Summer Jam. I was like, oh yeah, that's a great analogy. Yeah, he got put on the Summer. He got every time. I mean, he got probably popped in about 9, 10 lies. And this was like, he was getting popped so much. I was like, man, he got to see it coming. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's like, yeah, I mean, it's like, you got it. If somebody hits you with a belt, right? Every time you lie, and you lied 3 times in a row, and you just took 3 licks, and he's talking the same speech pattern as he did before, he probably gonna hit you the belt again.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it
And
was
he
like,
just kept going. So they
yeah,
kept
man.
bam, bam,
Yeah,
bam.
bam. You know what I mean?
And the
Exactly.
crazy thing is, in the police report, and I said this to Mel too, in the police report, one of the students identified Eddie as being a friend to Carmelo.
Exactly. So
And then
another student noticed it too.
Eddie in the police report says, I don't even know him.
Oh man, man. You know what? He didn't want to know him because he did that stabbing. He didn't want to be connected with him. And see, let me tell you the things that I get concerned about. Right? I'm wondering why no other teacher, coach, or anybody in the district stepped up for Carmelo. I have various reasons.
You have
Well,
theories.
maybe I have theories. I have theories about that.
Right.
But everybody want to keep their job. Number one, nobody wants to be connected with them.
Right,
Number two,
right.
but the other thing is when you're a teacher and administrator, you are privy to stuff that the person did even before they got to you. And so I'm concerned about some of that stuff
Mm-hmm.
because my bigger concern was as a defense attorney, and this is something I can say, he didn't even testify on his own behalf doing punishment.
Right.
When I have a client that cannot testify on his own behalf doing punishment, they got something wrong somewhere. It ain't that it's not that there's just a bad witness. There's something somewhere that is something's wrong somewhere. And I
Now,
don't know what that is, but something's wrong somewhere.
I aside from Carmelo not testifying, I'm also looking at why the Metcalf boy didn't testify either.
That's easy. That's easy.
My theory is because they had something going. They didn't. My thing is this:
I get two
they
reasons.
had to have known each other at some point in time.
I get two reasons. I get
Okay.
two reasons for that.
Okay.
I get two reasons. My two reasons is maybe after hearing the father speak and say a bunch of stuff that was probably racist, and the Metcalf boy probably got some other stuff going on. And so that's not going to play well.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, you don't want to put him up there. You don't want to put him up that stand. Even if you're the defense attorney, and people say, why? Why wouldn't you want to put him up there? He lost his brother. You got that kind of jury up there? Man, if you get up there and break down, it's a wrap for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and see, let me tell you something. I always had to do this. I had to get better about this, right? When I first started practicing law, I always used to think like I thought. And that used to be enough. And then I remember Samuel in that movie Time to Kill. Uh, I, I ain't paying you to think like you think. I'm paying you to think like they think.
Yeah.
I had to think like they think. And if you're thinking like they think, putting him up there and he had a mental breakdown up there or something, your goose is cooked. That's why you can't put him up there. Because for on our side, we look at him like you part of the problem, which he probably was.
Right.
But they're looking at him like he saw his brother die.
Yeah.
And this Karmelo Anthony kid who ain't from Texas. And that's another mistake that was made. In the opening statement, the defense attorney, doing an opening statement, actually talked about Karmelo Anthony moving up here from where he was from and all that other stuff. And then you don't do that. You don't do that. Because then you making him not be Texas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the situation in the movie The Wire, or the show The Wire, when Clay Davis made the prosecutor look like he was from the uptown, not down where they were from.
Right.
So, I'm serious. That's how he won. That's how he made himself. He made himself one of the jurors, like the jury, and he made the prosecutor be from uptown. And that's kind of but that was a mistake that should have happened. Because you got to know where you're at.
So
You made yourself.
Connected him. Yeah.
And then on top of that, I think Mike Howard is more of a Dallas attorney. He doesn't go to Collin County a lot like that. He's okay in Dallas, but he don't do a lot of stuff in Collin County like that. He's okay. He goes up there sometimes. But I think you needed a Collin County attorney to do a lot of stuff. And I think that got messed up because, and I will tell you, I knew two of the original attorneys before Mr. Howard got it.
Okay.
And I knew of the other third attorney. They had a white guy up there. He was a little scruffy looking, chewed at tobacco with them cowboy boots, perfect for the situation. I had another black attorney who's a friend of mine, Billy Clark, and
Right.
then they had Kim Cole. And I think those three people would have perfect team. Would have been a perfect team because you got your bubble, and then
Right.
you got your other two. You know what I mean? And he knew the lay of the land, the white attorney, because I knew him. I knew the
Right.
white attorney. I knew him real well. So he'd have been perfect to he
I
knows
was
the lay of the
looking
land.
for a dream team.
That would have been perfect.
For a
It would have
dream
been
team
perfect.
for them, and I was very shocked that he did not have one. But then, as things started coming out about who they were connected to, and then stories about that person started circulating, because you know how social media works. Once you put a spotlight on one person, people get to digging and pulling up the dirt,
Oh,
and people get to talking. I said, "Oh no, this is not good."
I think I think I think in the beginning their PR team was running and trying to control that, and I think that was the issue.
Mm,
And that is what it is. And it's just like for me, it I probably couldn't have worked with them because I'm very controlling when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because I'm like this, if you hire me, let me do what I do.
right.
If you're going to hire me and then you're gonna do this, and this and this, that's probably not gonna work out because I'm not going to have you hire me and then you're gonna make 4 or 5 moves that I'm not really a fan of, and then in the end come back and blame me for stuff not working out. No, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of how I am, and I think that a lot of that happened. And it's very unfortunate with the Carmelo situation because I felt like if he'd have played it better on the front end, I think his back end would have looked a lot better. I think
Yeah.
his back end could have looked a manslaughter with a 10, 12-year sentence, something smaller, to where he maybe goes to jail 5 or 6 years and comes home. That wouldn't have been bad.
Could this have been criminally negligent homicide as well?
It could have been, but the likelihood of that, because of proportionality and the proportionality argument, I don't know if you had that conversation with everybody. You cannot use in Texas with self defense. You got non lethal and lethal responses.
Oh yeah, well I did that, but I went through it with force because
Yeah.
somebody said something about the force, and I'm like, well, according to what I see in Texas Penal Code, there is no true definitive
Mm,
definition of force,
mm,
but here's lethal and non-lethal force,
yeah.
deadly and non-deadly, and when
Yeah.
you can use deadly force. And
Yeah. But you,
quickly, if they would have brought his epilepsy into play, and
but
that
that,
would have been a part of the defense of him
see, that's
fearing
why.
for his life,
That's why I
could
would have had him
that
testify. That's why I would have had him testify. Because I would have said, hey, yeah, let's say I know he used non-lethal, and I'm saying I know he's non-lethal and I use lethal, but as the
right,
attorney, I know my client used lethal versus the non-lethal, but my client felt in fear of his life because if he gets punched in the chest, he has epilepsy. That guy's 80 pounds heavier than he is. He's a linebacker. My guy's a slot receiver. He's thinner. He's smaller. He's not as strong as he is. If he gets punched, or if he gets pounded out, it could cost him his life. This guy's way bigger than he is. He's going to be a college Division I linebacker. My guy has epilepsy, seizures, and it could really harmed him. So if I put him on the stand, what happens is I think that in that particular situation, we probably get an opportunity to have a manslaughter as opposed to a murder. Criminally negligent homicide, I don't see them buying that one up there because at the end of the day, I think the problem is you had a tool. Some people say knife, some people say tool, whatever you want to say it is, but you stabbed somebody to the heart. Um, but with that being said, that person did kind of run at you and they're bigger than you. But with that being said, you did stab them in the heart and they died. And so I think a manslaughter would have been the right charge because ultimately the other person did do an action that
right,
did cause you that preceded you doing what you did.
right.
And so I think I could have made that argument to get him a manslaughter. And honestly, I think that he may have even been in a position to even negotiate a manslaughter in there and not have to go to this trial if he'd have done things right. But I think the problem with this is that when they had that press conference, he painted himself into a corner and it
Mm,
made him have to fight this and it made the state have to have to be really stern with him. And I think that's not the position that I would have wanted him in.
Yeah. Why have you seen the videos?
Yes, I watched him.
Okay, so can you help us explain how a jury could possibly come back with murder one? Because in my opinion, if I was a juror and I saw those videos, neither one of those videos bring me to beyond a reasonable doubt. This is what happened because I can barely see anything and I don't see all of the details.
Well, this is the issue. He basically told you on the video that he did it. So
Right.
if I bring all of their witnesses in and they testify of what they saw happen, which we are not sure that they're being honest about, and then you sit there the whole damn time and you don't say nothing, what do you think's gonna happen? Yeah, you can see why they can come back with that decision. Cause see, that's the problem with when I have the conversation with people. He needed to speak up for himself.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, y'all. Like you can't let 14 people come in there and them do that and say that stuff. And then you already said on the video you did it. You already claiming self-defense. You already basically admitted to doing it. You
Right.
just got to tell them why at this point. So to me, you just got to tell them why. And even if I got bad stuff, it's gonna come out, man. So be it. I just got to tell these folks why I did it.
So all roads lead back to him
Yeah.
testifying, which is that. And honestly, that's something whenever I talk about this topic, when people start asking questions, I'm like, we won't know because he never answered that. Why did he have the knife? We don't know.
hmm
We don't know if this is something that is a reaction to something that already previously happened to him. Not even just saying
hmm
with the Metcalfs, with anybody. So now he feels he's got to protect himself. We don't know if he was hunting with his dad, fishing with his dad, and it
Yeah.
was in the book bag and he left it in there. But in that
hmm
moment, he remembered it was in it. We don't know why it was there. We could speculate, but we don't know because he didn't say anything. We can't say why he feared for his life or how Austin touched him or what he felt in that moment because we did not hear him. We
Yep.
don't even know how he feels about Eddie Parra turning on him on the stand because
hmm
we didn't hear anything.
hmm
So we don't know the history between the Metcalfs and them because, like I was saying, they're athletes.
Yep.
They're at rival schools. So for
hmm
them to know each other, even just in passing, it's
Yep.
highly probable that they know one another's names, even from passing, from track and football.
Bingo.
So they're not 100% strangers, but we don't
hmm
actually know the history between them. Was there some type of grudge that was going on between them already? Was he fearful because of whatever may have? I'm speculating. This is not true.
Yeah.
Do not
Yeah.
say I said, and attorney Calvin Johnson said, no, I'm speculating. He ain't saying nothing. This is all him
hmm
talking right now.
hmm
We don't know if there was a history because he didn't open his mouth. And now that you're kind of walking us through everything and we're getting it, it made a difference between murder one and manslaughter if he would have opened his mouth.
And he's gonna have to open his mouth because remember when you look at the video, and I know people, even when I'm having this conversation with people, because everybody kept saying he was jumped. In that video, you can tell he was not jumped. And not only that, Dominique Alexander did an interview, and he said he wasn't jumped.
But
That's another
Carmelo
problem.
said he wasn't jumped either
Exactly.
when the police got him because he said, I told
He
him
put
not to
his
touch me.
he
He
put
put
his
his
hands on
hands
me,
on me.
and
I
I
told
understand it.
him not to.
And that's exactly why I would have wanted him to testify because in that moment, I think he could have showed the jury some emotion of how he felt violated. And then the attorney could have followed up, well, why was it so important for him not to touch you? Because I have seizures, I have epilepsy, and he's bigger than me, and stuff started running through my mind. I just felt like if him being bigger than me, he was gonna pound me out and I could end up dying. I could be sick. It was wet out there and I was under their tent and I just felt all this pressure. And
All
it's
these guys
interesting.
were
Yeah.
standing around me because
Yeah.
there were a bunch of guys standing up at the
Yeah.
back of the tent. Someone said, I think he will speak on appeal if it's granted. Will he get a chance to speak on appeal?
No, you don't get to go in there and talk. It goes on the record. That's another reason why I would have wanted him to testify. Because when you don't talk in your court, you're not part of the record. You just sat there and said word.
So he's invisible in his own appeal.
Bingo. That's why. And that's a problem. Huge problem, everybody. And I'm gonna tell y'all something right now. It's funny. I have a case going on in Dallas right now, and it's gonna be very interesting in Monday because I had somebody. I'm not gonna say they used lethal force against non-lethal aggression. It's clearly the other person's fault. In my situation, the person didn't die. And the judge is going to determine what they're going to do with my client on Monday. And it's going to be very interesting because my client was definitely smaller, almost similar situations, just females. My client's definitely smaller than the big girl. The big girl was ran up on her. And my client had some mental problems and had PTSD and anxiety and was kind of claustrophobic as well. And a big girl cornered her on the job. So it's going to be pretty interesting. So we'll see what happens Monday. But my client testified. She explained to her how it felt. And she couldn't get away. And she verbalized and she cried and the judge felt her emotion. And the judge has to basically deliberate. We went to a bench situation.
A bench,
But
right.
but the judge basically has to deliberate over the weekend to determine what she's going to do, which means if she was going to send her to jail, she could have sent her to jail Friday. We at least making her think about it, which tells you, you know what I mean? But see, that's what I'm saying. You got people got to feel you. They didn't even know Carmelo. So once you think about this, right? They just came there, sitting there, all they've heard is about Austin dying, him bleeding out. You got mama coming there crying, the brother coming there crying, daddy coming there crying, kids coming there crying. They in there squeezing the tennis ball for the stress. The teachers coming in there damn near about to cry. Everybody in the courtroom, they sitting there, and even if they not crying, they hugging each other, trying to hold it together. And you got all them witnesses come testify. You only really call about 2 or 3 witnesses, and your main witness who said that they saw something different on cross-examination got their ass ate up. And you sit there and said nothing. Yeah, I see how they came to the conclusion that they came to.
Yeah.
I'm just keeping it real. See, some people, they don't see how they came to that conclusion, man, but I can see it. When he don't say nothing, what can you do?
And I get it. You know, a lot of times attorneys don't want to put people on the stand because of what could come out on cross, right?
Just get them ready.
But
it's your job to get them ready.
With him,
you get them ready.
I don't know.
You get them ready. Listen, you get them ready.
Worst thing he didn't
you
have.
Get them ready.
Why didn't his non-criminal record play a part in any of this?
What do you mean his non-criminal record?
Is it because he didn't have any prior arrests? Is it because
no, listen.
Let
me help you. Let me help you out.
Okay.
This is what worries me. This is what really, really worries me. When he didn't testify in his own behalf in sentencing, it scared me. And people are like, what do you mean? In sentencing, they not only can use your priors, they can use priors and bad acts.
What's that?
Any shit you've done bad.
Oh, bad acts. Okay.
So let's say I don't have any priors, but let's say when I was a juvenile, I was in a gang and I got in trouble and did some gang shit. They can use that. Let's say when I was in juvenile, they got my phone. I had a bunch of rap videos on there and I'm pointing the gun at the screen. They can use that. Let's say that when they took my phone, let's say I'm out hanging out and I'm fronting, some of my kids, and I'm playing with guns and I'm doing the done. I'm playing gang, even though I'm not really gang. I'm just trying to, show them hard. They can use that. Anything they find on my phone, anything they find on my social media. I just moved up here from Louisiana. I've been told, I've heard that he maybe had to move here from Louisiana for other reasons.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We don't know why he left Louisiana.
Exactly. But I tell you one thing. I bet the damn state of Texas know where he had to leave. Because you know what they're going to do?
Do a background on you.
They're going to take their ass right back down to the Louisiana Police Department. They're gonna go back to the Louisiana Records Division. They're gonna look at his criminal history. They're gonna say, "Hey, what was going on down here?" They're gonna go back to the juvenile courts if he had any issues down there. What was going on down here? They're gonna get some investigators to go to the little town he was from. Hey, what was going on in these streets down here? They're gonna go to the social media and hey, what was happening down here? Why do you know what's going on? I'm telling you. So that's what scared me. The fact that he couldn't testify in his own sentencing scared me. When I say scared me, because there has to be something kept him from saying something. Because your life's on the line. You got to speak for yourself. These folks ain't heard you the whole trial. You got to say something.
The first time we heard his voice was on body cam.
Bingo. That's the first time I heard his voice.
Yeah.
And that scared me. And when I say scared me, like, what the hell is going on? What did they have on you for you to sit there and not say nothing? But they got to have something. They got to have something. But with that being said, I just would have been ready to deal with it. We just would have had to deal with it because I got a year to get you ready. I'm going to get you ready. That's it. If we're going to go to war, we're going to war. We'll hold back.
So you have a question. They said they're asking, did they find any of that in reference to Karmelo? And if so, why wasn't it presented?
What do you mean?
Well, in reference to what you were saying, that they would go and dig up and find, and so they're asking
if he doesn't testify, then they can't. Because see, if he goes and testifies in punishment and somebody says he's of good character, guess what they get to do? They get to refute that he's in good character by showing he's a bad character. I'm going to tell you something. Look, I've been doing this, so y'all know, before y'all ask me these damn questions, I've been doing this almost 25 years. So I'm telling you right now, when I saw he didn't testify on his own behalf doing punishment, I said, oh, man, listen, when you do this as long as I do it, sometimes you have this innate ability to see stuff before it happens. And you go like, uh-oh, wait a minute. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. And I'm going to tell you, even with his attorneys, Toby Shook, he's a good attorney. I would be hard pressed for him not to call Karmelo in punishment if Karmelo doesn't have something wrong. I don't see that guy not calling him. As a Texan, if I had to name 10 attorneys in Dallas County, if I had my life on the line, Toby Shook would be one of the guys I would choose. I think he's that good. For him not to call Karmelo, I go like, wait a minute. Now, he was just helping Mr. Howard. It wasn't really his case. Mr. Howard was the lead. But for him to be on a team where they didn't call the defendant, I don't know what was going on in that background there, but I felt like, to me, get ready anyway. Whatever's bad, we're going to deal with it. But I'm putting him up there.
Yeah.
Because I want them to feel him. And if he did some bad stuff, I'll say, hey, listen. As far as that's concerned, he was a young man in a difficult situation. But let's talk about this moment. In this moment, this is how he felt. He felt threatened.
Right.
He had a football linebacker bearing down on him. He felt like he had no choice but to do what he had to do. And therefore, he did what he felt like he needed to do to keep himself safe.
Yeah. See, I like your response. I like the way you would have handled that, because it would have been like, okay, that came out, but now listen, all right, we're talking about right now. We're not talking about then. Let's focus on it. Yeah. And that's redirecting the jury's attention. And I think that would have worked.
You got to do that.
If this appeal doesn't go through, can he appeal again?
He can try to appeal to the Texas, he can appeal to he can try to appeal federally, but I don't know. If this doesn't work, he's going. If this appeal doesn't work, it's going to be tough.
Can he get ineffective counsel?
Therein lies a problem, because they're going to say, well, why you didn't call him? You didn't call your client. You should have called your client. They give you this big admonition. And they tell you, you're making this decision on your own, Mr. Anthony. Did your counsel warn you? Did he give you the opportunity? Did he tell you the positives and the negatives? And you as the client have to say you understand. And
Mhm.
so I think um, a lot of it is going to be, well, why didn't you call him up to the stand? But I think that's a whole nother problem within itself, because Mr. Howard may be able to justify why he didn't call him.
Mhm.
I'm saying this to y'all because I don't want y'all. Let me say this to everybody. I don't want to seem like I'm throwing any shade at Carmelo. Please don't think I'm not. I said what I said because I had a case earlier this year. I'm gonna tell you, not earlier this year, during COVID. Remember COVID
Mm.
was happening?
Yeah.
I had a case, and they were broadcasting it, and I felt like I was getting punched with my hands behind my back. And the reason why, because I had a client that was on trial for murder, but he had done some other stuff. And I was in a unique situation. The more questions I asked, the more they probably could have found out about his other stuff.
Mm.
The more questions I asked, the more evidence I could have created to help them even make their case. The more questions I asked could have led to a whole other can of ass whooping getting opened up on me.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
And it was terrible because I was sitting there and people were thinking I'm not defending him. I'm like, listen, y'all don't want me to ask questions. Then on top of all that, he had a medical condition that if I asked certain questions,
Oh
that was
Lord.
going to get revealed. And so I was like, God, I'm serious. So
Okay, so what was the outcome of this case?
man, it went bad for him because he should have took. I negotiated a good deal for him based on what he did,
He
but
didn't take the
I'll
deal.
put it like this. I'll give you an example, right? This guy was so out there that there were YouTube videos in like the top 5 Dallas hitters. He was number 3 and had detailed everything that he had done. And so I was like, I kind of knew. I was like, I can't, you know, you know what I mean?
You knew he was gonna go down. You were just trying to
Yeah.
make sure he was gonna go down soft.
Yeah, and it's just like I couldn't, like, people like, you're not even asking. I can't, y'all. Y'all, like, I can't. And it's like in that moment, I had to think back because at first, when they arrested and then Carmelo, I was very critical of the defense team. And I said, wait a minute. I said, something. I said, Calvin, think back. I said, why wouldn't they? I said, oh. I said, there's only 2 reasons why you won't put him up there is that he's gonna be a bad witness or something's there. I've had a year to get him ready.
Right.
So I can at least make him an average witness. So something's there.
His parents seemed very inexperienced in this area of life. My hope for him is that they're able to secure a decent lawyer for him for this appeal, even though right now he has a court appointed.
I'm concerned. I'm concerned for them too as well. I'm gonna tell you why. Nothing against Louisiana people. I love y'all. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I met some great people from Louisiana.
Yeah, watch what you say. You know they.
Yeah, put them. You know, put a root on you. You know what I'm saying? My grandma,
No.
put a
We don't
root
want
on you,
no
boy.
root on
Gonna put a
us.
root on you. No, but seriously, I'm actually in a documentary called "He Never Came Home"
Oh,
by a movie A.L. Smith. Y'all can go to Amazon Prime and watch it. It's called "He Never Came Home."
I'm gonna watch it.
A mentally challenged man was convinced to confess to a crime he did not commit, and
Mm,
spent 4 decades in a mental institution for a crime he did not commit.
Jesus.
It's a shame, but it's a horrible story. But Louisiana is one or two places that's worse than Texas when it comes to the criminal justice system. I mean, they got us. That's one place. Louisiana, y'all got us. Y'all worse than we are. I mean, I give it to you. y'all the king. But what I'm saying to you is that Louisiana is the one state that does not operate on statutes. They operate on the French codes. So they have a different way that they do the laws. Their way that they do their laws is different from every other state in the United States. They operate on the French code system, which is a little different. In
Mm.
addition to that, Louisiana is just a little different. I mean, um, so you're operating on the French codes, and then you just um, certain parts of Louisiana, they're just not quick to pick up things like maybe we are in the city, or you in places like Texas. And so I'm concerned for them because maybe they can't really comprehend all of the things that they probably need to do to be able to get him decent counsel, and they're having to trust people. And the reason why I get concerned is that the way that they allowed a press conference to happen in the beginning of this case scares the hell out of me.
Well,
Why in God's green earth would you allow that to happen?
the dad, they did an interview and the dad spoke out on that. And he said that he wished they would have been a little bit more rebellious
Mhm,
because he was doing things and trusting people that were advising them to do this, don't do this, get rid of this person, take this person.
mhm.
And he said that he wished that they would have stuck with their original attorney.
Yeah, I think they should have. I think Billy Clark is a great attorney. I know him. He's a good dude. He was going to have Kim Call, and there was going to be the other white attorney that was from Collin County who was going to help. I don't think Mike's a bad attorney. I just think that the lay of the land up there would have been better for that set of folks up there. And I think even before Mike and Toby got on that case, I think there was a hole that was dug before they even got on. And see,
Yeah.
that wouldn't have happened with me. But with that being said, I still would have put him up there. We just would have, I'd have dealt with the bad stuff.
Well,
What
why
I,
don't you represent him pro bono, Kelvin?
uh,
I'm
that case will
serious.
close your office down.
It
That case,
was.
think about this. I mean, people are going to be calling you. They're going to want interviews. You got to make all your appearances. People are going to be calling you 100 miles an hour, asking you about it. You got to pay attention to it. It can close your office down.
Death threats.
Yeah, think
Because
about
that's
it.
been
Yeah.
going around as well.
And see, you know what I'm telling you? Let me bring something out to you. See, that right there, see, I'm going to tell you something. God protects me from myself. Because I'm going to tell you something. I don't play that stuff. Like somebody threatens my life. See, where I'm from, and I clean up, right? I clean up real good. Somebody threatens me. I come from a place where we go look for you. Like, we're not gonna be looking over our shoulder. We go look for you. Like, you threaten, okay. I gotta go look for you because I can't be looking over my shoulder. I gotta get you first.
Right.
And see, I can't be at my age in life, I can't be doing that. I'm gonna be 54. I can't be going around looking for people. That's crazy.
It's just not, yeah.
It's not doable. So, I can't. I'm just, God, he protected me from myself because I can't be doing that. And see, people play like, don't play like that. You can't be calling me, playing with somebody you're gonna do. No, I'm not doing that. See, that's why, some things, and then the way the world is, even on the internet, the way people talk to you, the way that they call you out your name, and the things that they say, I'm not
I'm
used to
still
all of
trying to
that.
work on it because I
Yeah,
lash
I
out
know.
back, but then I get mad at myself every time because
Yeah,
I'm not an argumentative type of person. I can't argue but so long before I'm ready for action. And I'm arguing with someone online to frustrate myself, and I don't know you, and I can't even
yeah,
say, meet me,
yeah,
let's handle this, because now you're getting real disrespect. I can't do it. So
yeah,
this is the land of disrespect, and
yeah.
I'm learning.
When I very first started doing the internet thing, I had somebody come at me super crazy and was talking super crazy. And that's when I really realized, I said, I'm not gonna be doing this with people because I don't play like that. When people start talking a certain way, I try to watch myself. I had somebody even come on my Facebook page and make some comments because I just gave some legal analysis. And because I didn't come out the way that they wanted to, they started making all these accusations. And you could tell they didn't really know me. They just happened to be on my page. And so I didn't care for that. Why no change of venue? That would have been the worst thing in the world. I'm gonna tell you why. People that are not from Dallas, let me help you out. In Dallas, Texas, 3 years from now, will be the third largest metropolitan area in the United States. You
Oh
might not
wow.
know that. The only places that will be larger than the Dallas metropolitan area will be New York and Los Angeles. We will be bigger than Chicago. Our metropolitan area is already bigger than Houston's metropolitan area because of our
Wow.
suburbs.
Mhm.
We have suburbs that have we have multiple suburbs that have a quarter million people. I mean, I'd say we got about 6, 7, 8 suburbs that have a quarter million people alone. And then we have another maybe 7, 8 suburbs that eclipse 100,000. So and then then we'll maybe have another 10 that eclipse between 50 and 75,000. So I mean, this is a population hub. And so there are a bunch of counties around Dallas County. Dallas County is a more liberal county. So if a
Mhm.
change of venue happens, Collin County is not going to let the case go to Dallas County. So if it's not going to go to Dallas County, all the other counties around Dallas are more conservative. Um, Collin County is actually not as conservative as Collin County is not as conservative as the other places that are around it. The farther you go away, the more conservative you get.
So it
Dallas
could have
County
been
sitting
worse.
next to it'd have been way worse. You don't want to go to Tarrant. That's worse. Rockwall would have been worse. Hunt would have been worse. Denton, damn sure would have been worse. Kaufman and Ellis, way worse. You just don't want to do that. I mean, the places that were options, I would say it'd be worse.
Wow. What are some legal takeaways that you would like to give to people when it comes down to this case?
And I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna close because I'm pooped. My legal takeaways in this case is this: number one, first of all, be careful who you choose as an attorney, but more importantly, do not have press conferences after you're arrested for murder. A. B. Be very, very careful about how you carry yourself after the event happens. Okay. Be very, very careful. Two, get you a legal team and get your attorney who you can trust. Three, get your feelings out of the case. Listen to your attorney. Don't let these people push you into directions that you shouldn't be going into. Listen to your attorney and listen to what he's telling you legally can happen. We get our emotions attached to situations because as African Americans, a lot we've been traumatized by all the stuff we've been in our past. And
Right.
sometimes that stuff can leak into our decision making and make things worse. Fourth, if somebody hits you or attacks you, you can respond to defend yourself, but you can't use lethal force against non-lethal force. And if you're going to use lethal force, you better be ready to take stand and explain why. Because if you don't, you're in trouble. The other thing is understand where you are and understand jury selection, right? If you're not going to vote, you're not going to be on juries. If you only make up 11% of a county's voting block, you're only going to get 1 or 2 African Americans on your jury. The other thing is a jury of your peers is not a jury of people who look like you. If you move to a place like Collin County, if you move out there with them folks going to be judging you. That's why I stay where I stay. I stay in Dallas. I've even had them ask me to move out there. Come on, Calvin, we'll get you in the Rotary clubs. You can come out here. We have great schools. We have this and that. And I go like, Calvin, nah, I'm gonna stay in Dallas. I'm staying in Dallas County where I belong. And believe me, they got some great schools out there. I've had judges want me to come live in their counties. You'd be great out here. I probably would. But then my people gotta come out there and visit. I gotta drive at night. What if my kid has an issue? Nah, I don't want to deal with that. I'm just gonna stay in
Right.
Dallas where I belong.
They want your Instagram contact information or any of that.
It's Calvin Johnson. I think it's Calvin Pluto is what I use. Pluto is the nickname my mother gave me from Disney. So don't even ask me about that. I actually 2 years ago I finally went to Disney. I never got to go as a kid because we were poor. So I actually got to meet Pluto. We did our thing, me and the big homie Pluto finally met. But
So it's
anyway.
Calvin Pluto on Instagram.
Yeah, and you can go to my Facebook page and take a look. And if you search Attorney Calvin Johnson, I'll come up. My website is theywon'tletmeout.com. Theywon'tletmeout.com. They
That's
won't let me
easy.
out. Yes, that's easy. My email is attorneycalvindjohnson@gmail.com. And my phone number is 214-565-5600.
Now listen, ladies, don't be calling him trying to hit on him. You see that band on his
exactly.
on his finger, okay? They
my wife,
carry in Texas, okay?
Exactly. Look, I take good care of my wife. She ain't trying to have none of that. She's like, look, hey, you take care of me, he ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna be smart. I'm gonna sit here, but I'm gonna take the brand.
Well, listen, I'm gonna add one more thing to the things that you gave everybody. Research where you're moving to before you move there.
Bingo. You know what? I try to tell people that. You listen, when you move out there with them people, them folks, them are now your peers. And I'm be honest with you, I have to think about if I get stopped, if I have to deal with the criminal justice system, I have to deal with their officers, because I know I'm an attorney. They stop me unjustly, I'm gonna have a fly mouth. So it's gonna be a problem. So no. So I'm gonna stay where I belong. Dallas City Limits, baby.
One of them videos where they say cop loses badge over pulling attorney over.
Dallas City Limits, baby. That's where I belong.
Well, thank you, Calvin, so much for coming up. I would love to have you come up another time. I always enjoy talking to you and Mel. It's always great conversation, and we learn something. Okay,
and I got you. All right. And you know what? I love talking to you because you always take care of us and you're always respectful. So we appreciate you. All right.
Thank you so much.
Take care now.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Sure will.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, you guys. That was attorney Calvin Johnson. Okay. You can catch him. He's always over with Mel over on Watching the World. He gives his illegal analysis on things a lot of times. As you can see, he's a plethora of information, and I wanted to talk to him because he is a Dallas attorney. He's a Texas attorney, so he understands things from a Texas level. And I really didn't want to get into the racial aspect of everything because we already talked about that. Let's talk about the legalities of things, why certain things were. And I hope that answers some of your questions. I hope that gave you a different perspective on things. So shout out to all of you. Hey, to my brother River. Hey, Mama Zay. Hey, everybody that I see in here. Now, I was going to get up off of here. I was. Because I was sitting here and I'm like, ooh, I'm getting sleepy. But I promised y'all that we was going to talk about some things. And so we're going to talk about some things. The only thing that I think we're not going to talk about is I don't think we're going to talk about Ashley Janae tonight. But I do want to talk about, since we're talking about Karmelo Anthony, let's go ahead and let's ruffle some feathers, okay? Now it's time to act bad, but not the way that Diddy said. Now it's time to act bad, just a little bit. We're going to act bad just a little bit. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, coming to the stage, I have for you Jake Lane. Now, a lot of you know who this is. Some of you may not know who this is, but Jake Lane is a January 6th insurrectioner who was already locked up, okay, for his part that he took in the insurrection on January 6th. He is a racial inciter. He goes out, he has set the Quran on fire and got his earth whooped for doing so. And he was outside of the Karmelo Anthony trial spewing his rhetoric, and I'm going to play a video for you so you can understand what I'm talking about.
Karmelo Anthony should be swinging from a tree outside this courthouse. Karmelo Anthony should be swinging from a tree outside this courthouse. Karmelo Anthony should be hanging from a tree.
So that's one video that Mr. Jake Lane was out there in. But as you can see, he was out in Collin County. And I've been holding on to this, and I know you guys have probably heard, and if you haven't heard, you're going to find out now. Jake Lane is currently being held in Collin County. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Jake Lane has been held in Collin County. I thought I had one more thing. I do. I have something. I have the father talking disrespectfully as well. But let's get to this CBS News Texas report.
New details obtained exclusively by CBS Texas. Court documents revealing that a prominent right-wing activist has been charged with making a terroristic threat.
Did you hear that? To all of those people that like to say racist things and make threats, it is a terroristic threat for you to do so. So for all of y'all folks that like to go on to the That Girl Henny Facebook page, and you like to leave your little racial things down there, you want to jump in my inbox, and if you want to make threats against me, darling, remember that you heard it here from CBS News in Texas, and everybody take note. It's a terroristic threat to do that. Let's continue.
To allegedly kill Karmelo Anthony, Jake Lang spent 4 years in prison for the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol.
4 years in prison. But old Jakey boy has a list of arrests that have happened since the insurrection. So not only did you scale the Capitol walls and break in, you've been arrested several times.
Our J.D. Miles with the exclusive new details from the Collin County Courthouse.
We reported on this arrest last week, but up until now, it hasn't been revealed what led to it. Jake Lang was out here earlier this month with hundreds of other demonstrators. We learned today from court documents he was reportedly recorded on a live stream video saying that he was going to kill Karmelo Anthony.
Yes, he was. On several videos, might I add, because I saw that. 4 years and still carrying on with foolishness. Yes, uniquely, 4 years and still carrying on.
With a gunshot to the head.
Fix your culture. Fix your culture.
These are some of the videos that show right-wing activist Jake Lang confronting supporters of Karmelo Anthony outside the Collin County Courthouse on the first day of testimony.
Out there with his bullshit. And we seen him going back and forth with people in the crowd. Yeah, he was out there trying to get things started. He had his sign up there that said White Lives Matter and all. I mean, he had a whole production. I didn't feel like digging too much on his information, just so y'all know why I don't have all of that stuff up there. But I'm just saying, he's done a lot, and y'all probably saw it.
Anthony's murder trial. It was on that day, June 4th, when authorities say Lang was recorded on video saying to someone, he won't be playing basketball. I will be waiting outside this courthouse. Guess what? Headshot, done. Authorities say an unidentified individual responded, so you going to kill Karmelo Anthony? To which Lang reportedly answered, yes, I will.
Now, as if scaling the Capitol wall and breaking in wasn't the dumbest shit that you could do, and all the other stuff that he does is dumb shit. Because he even had, he had a black man lay down on, like, you know how you have a sign and the sign has a little brick wall in front of it? He had the guy lay chest down on that brick wall and put his knee on that man's back and said, can you still breathe? And then he put all his weight on that man's back and said, can you still breathe? Saying that George Floyd died from a fentanyl overdose and not the knee to the back from the police officer. How about that?
The Texas Fusion Center, which was covertly monitoring the courthouse for
shout out to Ratchet TV, because that was him in the pink.
Threats.
He done made it to the news, y'all.
Along with social media and live streams, used facial recognition technology to identify Jake Lang as the person on the video making the threat to Anthony's life.
So pay attention to what they just said. They used facial recognition to capture Jake Lang. So now let's take a step aside from that for a moment. Yes, Trump pardoned him, I believe, after 4 years of sitting. So they used facial recognition for him. That should let us all know that Big Brother is definitely watching and that they do use facial recognition technology to be able to scoop you up. So once again, like I said, when we talked about Pooh Shiesty and his dad and all of them running down on Gucci Mane and all these other people that still do shit, you can't get away with what you used to get away with because there's always an eye in the sky somewhere watching you. Look at what happened to what's a McKenzie girl. She made a turn down the street, the traffic cam caught her, and then all these cameras on businesses and stuff caught her flying down the road before she crashed her boyfriend and his best friend into a brick wall and herself. Facial recognition is real, you guys. It's not a myth. and The Matrix is a documentary. Let's continue.
The 31-year-old from Florida was arrested while trying to leave the state and has been in the Collin County Jail with a $1 million bond, charged with making a terroristic threat. It's a felony that comes with a 2 to 10 year sentence if convicted. Here is a recording of the live stream, which got Lang in serious trouble.
And I'll be right here too.
And I'll be right here too. So you gonna kill him?
Yes.
So you gonna kill Karmelo Anthony?
Yes, I will.
Lang has a history of arrests since he was pardoned by President Trump after spending 4 years in prison for the January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol. At the time of this latest arrest, authorities say Lang was already violating a criminal trespass warning he received outside the Collin County courthouse 2 days earlier.
So he was not even supposed to be on the property. I don't know why they always got to be from Florida uniquely, but I mean, shit. They always got to be from Florida or they got to be from New York. Okay. But they specifically banned him from being on the property. And it was probably because he was saying to strange fruit Karmelo Anthony that he should be strange fruited from the tree right there in front of the Collin County courthouse. He was saying stuff like that. Okay. And yet here he is still out there after they told him not to be. What I can't understand is, how did these sheriffs not know that he was not supposed to be on the premises? Someone please let me know.
Which banned him from the property for 30 days. CBS News Texas discovered that Lang has an online fundraising account that's collected nearly $50,000 on the exact same crowdfunding website as one that just days ago shut down an account to collect money for the family of Karmelo Anthony. Lang is scheduled to appear for a bond hearing tomorrow in the same court in front of the same judge, John Roach Jr., who presided over the Karmelo Anthony murder trial. In McKinney, J.D. Miles, CBS News, Texas.
So he's going to go stand before Judge Roach, which, by the way, everyone keeps saying that Judge Roach has spontaneously retired. He has not retired. Judge Roach, when he did that interview, if you go to my Instagram page, Judge Roach, it was said that he is retiring in 6 months. So his retirement is already there. He's still there. And let me ask you this. How is Judge Roach spontaneously retiring when he's presiding over Jake Lang's case? Someone please explain it to me. That's okay. You don't have to. So we have his arrest record here. Okay. And as you can see, what he did is a 3rd-degree felony. There's his $1 million bond, but they did also lower it. Okay, his bond was lowered. I'm trying to see if I have that. I think I do have that. He has an application charge on here. He filed a writ of habeas corpus. His hearing is set. Right here, terroristic threats. Okay. I don't have where his bond was reduced, but Jake Lang's bond has been reduced, you guys. So yeah, old Jakey boy, you effed around and you found out that they wasn't playing with you. I guess he thought everything was sweet because nothing had happened to him. And he was still going out there. Okay. He was still going out there even after he wasn't supposed to be going out there. And yeah, now he's locked up. Imagine that. So I said that I was going to bring you guys an update on Cyrus Belton. Now, I've been saying this for a minute now, and I do apologize that it took me a while to get here to this. But we are definitely here. All right. We're going to get this party started. I am looking for it because I thought I had my screen already opened for this, but I don't have it open for this. I actually have it open for, yeah, it's open for Ashley, but we're not doing Ashley today. Not in this video anyway. I don't have the time to do so. I'm actually quite hungry and I do want to go and eat. So Cyrus Belton, we all know the name. We know what happened. We know that Rick Chow was let off for the senseless murder. Now you want to talk about murder? That was murder. The murder of Cyrus and Cyrus's family. They're not having it, okay? They're not having it. They have, let me get to it. So, is this it? Okay. So back in 2024, the Belton family filed a lawsuit against Rick Chow, okay? And the family, okay, everything is good. We got this up. Everything is the way that it should be. I'm not going to worry about fixing that. But what I am going to do is I am going to do this. Okay. No. Leave it how it was. Okay. So this is the court document for the family's lawsuit. And in this court document, the family is suing Green Investments, Green Frog Stores, Chi Kai Rick Chow, aka Rick Chow, Shell USA Inc., Express Mart, and Alice Chow and Andy Chow. Okay. And it says that, let's get to the, I think, is this it? No, I think it's the next one. Where is the whole case? Hold on one second for me, guys, because I got to pull the whole case up. So basically, they filed this lawsuit against Rick Chow and the Shell station and the people who owned this. Oh, here it is. This is it right here. The Express Mart and all of them for the wrongful death of Cyrus. Now, I salute these parents and take my hat off and tip it to them, but they, their case was suspended because of the trial that was going on. Okay, so here are their factual allegations. They say that the plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference paragraph 1 through 10 and as fully set forth verbatim. Upon information and belief, defendants Green Investment, X-Mart Express, Green Frog, and Shell jointly own and or operate a convenience store and gas station located, and there's the location, in South Carolina, known to the public as Express Mart and Shell gas station. Upon information and belief, defendants Rick Chow, Andy Chow, and Alice Chow are all in whole or part the lawful owners and operators of the business defendants Green Investment, X-Mart, and Green Frog. Upon information and belief, defendant Shell is an oil and gas company providing business services in association with the defendants Green Investment, X-Mart, and Green Frog. So this is why they are suing them, because the gas station is connected there and everybody is in business together. So why not sue everyone involved? And I don't blame them. So it says, on or about May 28th of 2023, Cyrus Carmack Belton, a minor, was a lawful invitee of the above named defendant's location at all relevant times. To factual allegations of the matter, the above named defendants intended to benefit from serving Cyrus Carmack Belton on the night of the incident. Defendant Rick Chow, Andy Chow, Alice Chow were all present at all times relevant. Okay. Cyrus Carmack Belton entered onto the property and began to be racially profiled, monitored, followed, and harassed by Rick Chow, Andy Chow, and Alice Chow. Now pause. Why all of them? Because Alice was following closely behind him, monitoring everything he did. Andy Chow was standing in an observing position, and Rick Chow was watching on the monitors. So they were all following him, and they racially profiled him, called things, right? Upon information and belief, Alice Chow falsely and intentionally stated to Rick Chow and Andy Chow that Cyrus Carmack Belton was placing bottles of water and or other merchandise into his book bag as a shoplifter. Now, how could she tell them that when the book bag wasn't even there? But she did say that he was shoplifting. Rick Chow and Andy Chow then approached Cyrus Carmack Belton while still inside the store. Now, I think they got this a little mixed up because they didn't approach him inside of the store. And Alice was the one who accused him of stealing. So we know all of that. Rick and Andy Chow continued to intimidate Cyrus Carmack Belton, towering over him. We did not see that. So some of this information is not actually accurate. I hate to say that, but it is true. But they did physically chase Cyrus down 130 yards. We do know because a lot of these facts came out in court. Okay. A lot of these facts came out in court already. So they are suing for wrongful death. Okay. This does not state how much they are suing for, but I feel like whatever they say they need, they should get. Okay. Now, when the case started going to trial, at the hearing of this matter on August 6th, the court was informed that an immunity hearing pursuant to Protections of Person and Properties Act had been set forth for November 2025 in the criminal case, and trial is expected in the first half of 2026. The remaining parties in this matter have consented to staying the case. So, before the case went to trial in August of 2025, they agreed to put the case on pause and on hold while the criminal case went through. Now, I don't know if y'all remember, but I had asked one time before, I believe I might have asked Calvin a long time ago, about how criminal cases affect the civil cases. The criminal cases actually could help them in court, because if they're found guilty, then it definitely helps the person with their case. I believe that this family is entitled because they did lose their loved one. There's no getting around that at all. Like, you cannot sit up here and make it seem like this was just some horrible, egregious accident that happened when they intentionally chased him down and hunted him. They hunted Cyrus Belton, Cyrus Carmack Belton, excuse me. They hunted him down. And so they need to go ahead and loose that money, honey. I don't have anything else to give y'all. I do have the Soldier Boy case, but I think I'm going to hold off on that. I think you guys got a really good show tonight. Y'all got some great information. Y'all got to hear from an attorney who is in Texas, okay? So now you have heard from TP when I was live with Dogface. You heard from him. That's an attorney out there in Detroit. And now you've got to hear from Kelvin Johnson, who has given you an insight into Texas and how Texas operates and different things that would have been done. I understand why he hadn't taken on the case, but I hope that Karmelo does get some form of justice, that this sentence gets reduced from 35 years, because that is an awful long time. And I know a lot of people are saying, but somebody lost their life. That's still an awful long time. It's an awful long time. The facts of the case are already out there. Once these transcripts hit the air, I'm on them. I'm on them like white on rice, and we're going to read the transcripts. Mel has been doing a great job at giving you guys the transcripts and telling you guys what's going on. So shout out to Mel. You can go over to Watching the World 777 and get that information. So that way, when the transcripts come out, you can then compare them. But shout out to Mel. Shout out to Calvin for coming and joining us this evening. I want to thank all of you who have tapped in and tuned in. I would like to do a call-in show where you guys get to call in and speak and let it be known how you feel about different things, taking in all of this different information across the internet, how you feel about this case, how you feel about a lot of the cases out there. But again, thank you guys so much for tapping and tuning in. I'm going to go get me something to eat because, baby, I have not eaten since breakfast. And I ate earlier today and I had sushi. So I love you all very much. When y'all rest well, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, everybody. 'Cause I don't